Now brace yourselves for stage 8 power cuts. Energy expert Mike Rousseau says this is indeed a reality, and at stage 8 consumers would be without power for 48 hours over 4 days. There's already been 25 days of rolling blackouts this year.
At the moment, there's a better than 50% chance that we're going to go above level 3 and 4, and so on. As I said, this is because they're not in control of the situation. So there's a good chance that we'll see higher levels of load shedding. To what extent is hard to predict because they don't even know what they're going to have tomorrow or the next day or whatever. So all they're doing is reacting to that and load shedding, and so it continues.
The ENCA is doing this, but this is quite misleading, judging from their headline that induces panic and says 48 hours over 4 days. Of course, you're going to, the more days you have, the more hours of a blackout you're going to have. The more hours of load shedding you're going to have during that time. And the language that they have, man, that they use in general causes a panic. And judging from what the expert says, I don't see the expert saying anything that we don't really know. Because it's just like it could be above 3 or 2 or 3. So why should we panic? Because we've been having higher stages. And even if it goes a bit higher, I don't think we should necessarily be taking it to the extreme of stage 8. Judging where I am the first to judge the ANC in terms of corruption, in terms of how it's been governing and all of that. But I would say overall they've been doing good, at least with the things that matter and its international perception. How they handled the situation with Ukraine and Russia, them staying as an impartial party and them trying to negotiate a solution instead of being bullish and choosing a side and virtue signaling and then causing their standing in the world to fall whilst taking a side with America or taking a side with Russia. I think that was a very intelligent move. Them bringing down inflation, yes, it has increased over the past couple of months, years, let's say months. It has increased over the past couple of months, but I think that's just a consequence of a turbulence here in South Africa. Turbulence that is arising because of various reasons. And the ANC seems to overall be trying to clean up cabinet, yeah, well, not cabinet is in the top 6, but like it's been trying to work out its corrupt elements. Yes, some of them will get away, but some of them won't. And some of them have been caught by the step aside rule. Yes, we can fight and say that some of them aren't doing it, but like let's not make perfect become the enemy of the good, yeah, well, and then end up with like worse off parties that would mess up the country even more because they don't have any actual experience governing. And some of them just have nefarious ulterior motives, yeah, or about where they would take the country down, or with the path that they would take the country through. So, yeah, man, I just don't see why the what purpose the ENCA would have for presenting the situation in South Africa in the way that it has. Because things aren't that bad. Things aren't that bad, and there's no event that has happened that would cause, unless they just tweeted and released that video and statement because it because of shock factor basically, then I would understand and I would be much more lenient because they're just trying to generate interest and money and all of that. But I think the news should be above that because of the ramifications of what they are saying. I'm not saying that they shouldn't report on the bad things that the ANC is doing or that are happening in South Africa, but EP needs. That's all I'm trying to say. Yes, load shedding is bad, but tell us load shedding is bad. Tell us that the government is incompetent for having load shedding. Put them to the fire in that way. Don't twist facts. Don't bend the truth in order to make it more sensational. And you just end up losing credibility as a company because yes, everything that you said is facts. Everything that you said is true. Eh, yes, the number of hours that you would be losing if there was a load shedding of 48 over two over over 4 days, like is 90 something hours over 4 days uh, in total, and they spread out evenly, and the possibility that South Africa would be in stage 8 for 4 consecutive days. It just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. And it, like, what kind of expert says that? Why did the expert say that? Like it or are you just going to say he said it's a possibility? He didn't say it's going to happen. Okay, fine. But what are the odds? Like, I, no, I would really like to see if through my lifetime South Africa would have like load shedding of that magnitude consecutively for that many number of days. Now I think we're actually doing pretty good because it's like around stage 8 where footy. Is stage 8 going to be implemented throughout the country? Which province? Is it going to be in factories that probably have generator areas that have a lot of factories that have generators and pulling down the grid a lot? Is it going to be in poverty-stricken areas? Is it going to be in Sandton? Is it going to be where? Like the energy the expect isn't really specific about what's going on and what, and it just induces fear, and I just don't think it's in line or in context with the reality that we've been living in. So it's just fun. It's just fun. I just had a lot more respect for the NCA before this. I don't think I've actually lost it all, but come on, guys, do better. I expect more from you. Imagine. And the funny part is that they have a headline at the bottom. I don't know what the actual word is called for the title within the picture, which is like 22 million flag. Yeah, 22 million rand flag. Yeah, man, of course. If there are corrupt elements within South Africa, they are being dealt with. What does it have to do with the energy problem? The energy problem isn't even arising from it isn't even arising from into corruption that much. Yes, corruption is a factor. Almost just made an example that would have gotten me in trouble. Corruption is a factor, uh, but it isn't the be all and all of why things are going to shitville. Um, there are a number of factors. A lot more people are accessing the power grid. People are moving from rural areas to urban areas. Urban because of urbanization. I hated that in school. Um, and when they move there, they might move from rural areas that probably didn't have electricity before. Yeah, well, and now they are in those places. They have refrigerators, they have TVs. Okay, some of them might not even have those, but like any electrical consumption that you are doing that you weren't doing before on mass, with your consumption as a single individual might not be that much, but on mass it causes a difference. um Even in said rural areas, a lot of rural areas have been starting to get the electricity that they weren't getting. Part of the things that just feel like the ANC isn't getting a credit for. Um, and that causes more strain on the on the power grid. There are new developments because we're always complaining about not having jobs and all of that. There are new developments that are happening. Companies are setting up shops, factories are being built, and that also increases the strain on the power grid. The ANC took power in 94. No one told them that it would be such a huge undertaking. Yes, there have been some faults in the ANC not increasing its power grid, I mean, not maintaining its power grid. Uh, and maybe, and I don't know for what purpose that they haven't been maintaining it. Maybe it's a lack of will at the administrative level, or it's whatever purpose that it is. I have no doubt that in the next couple of years, the next 10, 20 years, it the problem should be resolved. The problem should be resolved either with a change in leadership, or the leadership that we have now pulling up their socks. But it isn't the end of East South Africa. It isn't the end of East South Africa. Yes, the different 8 stages were created, and it's possible for us to even go past the 8 stages if it were to happen. But the 8 stages themselves are a way that government is showing us, okay, guys, we're not doing this random. It's a way of transparency, and it's just a way of a love letter to the government. It's just a love letter from the government saying, hey guys, we are doing this way, and this is why we are doing this. It's just that a lot of us as South Africans don't know the why necessarily. So it's much more easier for us to panic. But for media companies to be using things like I'm an average South African, a normal individual. I don't consider myself as special from anyone. If I can figure this out, shouldn't you as a journalist who shouldn't you be figuring it out sooner? Because just that just put you to a higher standard than a 16 subscribed by YouTube channel. Come on, guys. Ah, ah, ah.
来い、お前らの力海賊王に値するか見せてみろ。